I never told my son about my $40,000 monthly salary, even though he always saw me living a quiet, unassuming life. One day, he invited me to dinner with his wife's parents, who were flying in from overseas. I decided to test their character by showing up as the broke, unpretentious mother they seemed to expect, but the second I walked through the restaurant doors, the evening unraveled in ways that left my daughter-in-law and her family shattered, exactly as they deserved. Let me tell you who I really am, and how one calculated night exposed everything. My son, Marcus, is 35. To him, I've always been the single mom who left for work at dawn and came home exhausted, cooking from whatever was in the pantry, just an office worker, maybe a clerk, maybe a typist, nothing noteworthy. I let him believe it. I never mentioned the 7-figure contracts I negotiated, the thousands of employees who reported to me, or the fact that I'd been a C-suite executive at a Fortune 500 conglomerate for nearly 2 decades. Money was never a trophy I needed to display. I grew up believing dignity is worn on the inside, not flashed on a wrist or parked in the driveway, so I kept my truth quiet. Same modest apartment for 25 years, same scuffed leather handbag until the straps frayed, discount groceries, thrift store coats, every extra dollar invested. Real power doesn't announce itself, it watches. Marcus's nervous phone call came on a Tuesday. Mom, Simone's parents are in town, first time meeting you, dinner Saturday at Les Ciel, please come. His voice cracked with something that wasn't excitement, more like dread that I'd embarrass him. Do they know anything about me? I asked. A pause. I told them you work in an office, that you're simple, that you don't have much. Simple. The word landed like a slap. I inhaled slowly. I'll be there, sweetheart. Saturday. I dressed for the role they'd assigned me, a shapeless linen dress 2 sizes too big, shoes I'd worn to my mother's funeral 15 years ago, no jewelry, hair in a limp knot, canvas tote patched with duct tape. In the mirror I looked like someone life had chewed up and spat out. Perfect? Les Ciel is the kind of place where the valet earns more than most teachers and the wine list reads like a Sotheby's catalog. I paid the cab in crumpled 20s, stepped onto the marble, and felt the room's collective gaze slide over me like I was furniture. Marcus spotted me first. His face cycled through shock, guilt, and panic. Simone's greeting was a brittle air kiss. So glad you could make it. Her parents were already enthroned at the best table. Veronica, emerald silk, diamonds flashing like warning lights. Franklin, bespoke suit, watch the size of a hockey puck. They looked up, registered the thrift store dress, and their smiles froze into something closer to pity. Handshakes were limp, eye contact brief. I was seated at the far end, like an afterthought. Menus arrived, bound in leather, no prices. Veronica leaned over with theatrical kindness. Shall I order for you, dear? Something light. We don't want to strain the budget. The word budget hung in the air like smoke. Conversation began with their travel triumphs, private jets, Michelin stars, a handbag that cost more than a car. Every anecdote carried a price tag. I nodded, murmured how lovely, and watched their contempt bloom. Then Veronica turned her spotlight on me. And you, Elara, what do you do? Office work, I said meekly, filing, answering phones, whatever needs doing. Franklin gave a sympathetic TSK. Honest work, dignified. Veronica's eyes flicked to my cracked nails. It must be hard, raising a son alone on administrative wages. Marcus stared at his plate. Simone traced circles on the tablecloth. They spoke of the $40,000 they'd gifted for the house down payment, the $15,000 honeymoon in Positano, the trust fund they were considering for future grandchildren, each boast a velvet-gloved dagger. Finally Veronica set down her fork. Elara, we've been thinking. Marcus worries about you, naturally, a single woman, modest income, no real safety net. We'd like to help, say, $600 a month, a little allowance. In exchange, perhaps give the young couple some space, no surprise visits, no leaning on Marcus financially. We all want what's best for the children, don't we? Translation, disappear, peasant, we'll pay you to stay gone. Marcus hissed. Mom, that's enough. Veronica raised a manicured hand. Let your mother speak. I folded my napkin, placed it beside my plate, and let the timid mask fall away. My voice, when it came, was the one I use in boardrooms that fall silent the moment I enter. $600, I repeated, to vanish. Generous. Tell me, Veronica, how much did you spend tonight? 800, 1,000, on people you'd pay to forget you exist? The table went still. I leaned forward. You've spent the evening cataloging my worth and found me lacking. Let me return the favor. Marcus's fork clattered. Simone's eyes widened. Franklin's jaw tightened. 40 years ago I was 23, pregnant, abandoned, disowned. I worked 12-hour shifts until the day I gave birth, returned to the factory floor 2 weeks later, studied at night while Marcus slept in a laundry basket, climbed from secretary to VP to regional director. Today I earn $40,000 a month. I oversee operations across 5 countries and budgets larger than your entire portfolio. I came tonight dressed like this because your son described me as simple, and I wanted to see what you'd do with simple. Veronica's face drained of color. Franklin's hand froze halfway to his wine glass. I wanted to feel your kindness, or lack of it, firsthand. Congratulations, you showed me exactly who you are, Marcus whispered. Mom, why didn't you ever tell me? Because I wanted you to earn your pride, not inherit it, because money warps children. I refused to let it warp you. Simone's voice cracked. All those years you lived like a woman who knows the difference between price and value. I finished. Veronica recovered first, venom returning. If you're so wealthy, why the act? Why humiliate us? I didn't humiliate you, I said. You did that yourselves the moment you decided a person's clothes determine their humanity. Franklin tried bluster. This is outrageous. I cut him off. Outrageous is offering to pay a mother to abandon her son. Outrageous is treating waitstaff like scenery and family like liabilities. I reached into my tote, pulled out a matte black card, American Express Centurion, and slid it across the linen. Dinner's on me. Consider it a masterclass in generosity you never bothered to attend. The waiter, sensing blood in the water, approached. Franklin's platinum cards were declined, twice. Some algorithmic ghost in the machine, he muttered. My card cleared the $1,180 tab in seconds. I stood. One last thing, you speak 4 languages, Veronica. In how many of them did you learn the word respect? Silence. I walked out without looking back. Marcus caught me on the sidewalk. Mom, I'm sorry, I let them make you feel small. You didn't let them, I said, cupping his face. They revealed themselves. Now we know where to set the boundaries. 3 days later Simone arrived at my apartment alone. No designer armor, no makeup mask. She looked like a woman who'd spent 72 hours staring into a mirror she didn't like. I'm not here to beg forgiveness, she said. I'm here to say I saw everything my parents did, and I stayed quiet because silence was the price of their love. I'm done paying it. We spoke for hours. She told me about her parents' childhood starvation, their terror of poverty, how money became their god and cruelty their worship language. I listened without interrupting. When she finished, I told her the only inheritance worth leaving is the kind that teaches your children to see souls before statements. She left lighter. Marcus texted later, we've drawn the line, limited contact, 0 financial strings. If they cross it, they stay on the other side. Veronica and Franklin never apologized. They sent a stiff email about misunderstandings and moving forward. I archived it unread. Some people mistake wealth for worth. I know better. My modest apartment still smells of coffee and old books. My handbag is still patched. My son now calls before assuming. My daughter-in-law asks questions instead of measuring. And every morning I wake up rich, not because of the balance in my accounts, but because I no longer have to pretend to be less than I am. The pigeons in the park don't care what's in your wallet, neither do the people who truly matter. That's the only currency I spend freely. If this story resonated, let me know where you're reading from. Your comments keep these tales alive.